Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Bryden, and I'm the Democratic candidate for Rockingham County Attorney. And today I want to talk to you about how New Hampshire handles police misconduct. Specifically, I want to talk to you about the exculpatory evidence schedule, otherwise known as the Lorry list. Some people call it the EES for short. In New Hampshire, if a police officer lies on the job, they use excessive force, or they commit any other act of misconduct, they're placed on a list. This list is kept up by local police chiefs and is collected by the county attorneys and the Attorney General's office on a yearly basis. The point of this list is to alert prosecutors that the officer has something in their personnel record that may need to be disclosed to a defendant regarding their ability to testify at trial. Many times, the prosecutors themselves don't actually know what the act is that the officer committed, but they know that their name appears on this list and that they need to notify the court and defense counsel. The reason behind this somewhat unusual process is that police personnel records are deemed private under New Hampshire state law, and the courts have ruled in the past that these records cannot be breached without a showing that there is some kind of exculpatory information, otherwise, information that could make it more likely that the defendant did not actually commit what they're accused of, contained in that police officer's file. Now, how an officer is placed on that list can change from department to department around the state. But ultimately, it's a determination made by the chief of police after an internal investigation. The officer is supposed to have an opportunity to challenge that decision internally before it's finalized and sent to the county attorney and the attorney general. The mere existence of this list has been subject to a lot of scrutiny over the last few years, and there have been multiple lawsuits filed by media companies, the ACLU, and others to make this list public. There have also been members of the criminal justice reform community who have said just the fact that this list exists creates distrust between the law enforcement community and the community at large. They say, why would we keep a list that's secret of police officers who've committed misconduct? And it's a good question. Recently, at a meeting of the Governor's Commission on Law Enforcement Accountability and Transparency, the Attorney General's office proposed some changes to this process that I believe are a good start. I believe reforming this process will help increase transparency, it will restore trust with the public, it will also help standardize our findings of misconduct and ultimately provide a better and more consistent due process for officers who are accused of misconduct. First, I do not believe that there should be a non-public list of misconduct findings. Part of holding a public job is that you're in the public trust. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard. And public officials who commit acts of misconduct, not mistakes, that breach the public trust make it harder for everybody else to do their jobs. Now, the concern that I've heard from law enforcement is that there are many baseless complaints filed against them for just doing their daily jobs. And as a prosecutor, I've seen that myself. But that is a problem we can address by having a better and fairer process. Almost every profession that's licensed in the state has a board that reviews allegations against licensed professionals. This is true for lawyers, doctors, nurses, and more. We should create a similar statewide board to handle complaints against law enforcement. This would take police chiefs, especially small-town chiefs who are often close to their officers, out of having to make these difficult, career-changing decisions. A board could have members of the law enforcement community, elected representatives, and subject matter experts who could then draw on a statewide set of complaints to establish precedents and consistency in their decision-making. It could have a clear appeals process to an administrative judge or to the superior court. It would make what is currently a very murky, inconsistent, opaque, and costly process a much more streamlined and fair process for all those involved. But then after going through this process, if a finding of misconduct is sustained and appeals are exhausted, then it should be made public, just like it is for many other professions in the state of New Hampshire. Moving towards a structure like this will help regrow the trust between law enforcement and the community. It would also help make sure that officers are given a fair process before a finding is made against them.